Hello. It's been an interesting few weeks. It's been an interesting month. I don't even know where to. I'm sitting here. Last week I didn't get a video done. Um, the video of the little short video that I actually posted was one from way back that hadn't posted for some reason publicly. I'm like, what is about that? So anyway, good conversation in the comments. I always appreciate it whenever people, comment, whether you agree with me or not, that's okay. I hardly ever agree with myself, or often don't agree with myself, um, I definitely don't expect you to agree with me. I was thinking, I hardly ever introduce myself. I'm just assuming that anybody who clicks onto my video is familiar with me and who I am. But just in case you're not and you're new here, welcome. I'm Donnie DeFullman of PrairieDustTrail.com. It's a mouthful. I'm a fifth generation Oklahoma Panhandle homesteader and a prepper. Uh, I'm an award-winning journalist, whatever that means, uh, and a veteran homeschool mom and a Meemaw. And I help women, usually women mostly, grow in faith and prepare for life disasters through consistent stewardship and developing flexible simplicity in their lives, simple life, and building resilience in the face of the storms of life. So, yeah, that's kind of in a nutshell what I attempt to do here. We do go into lots of things. This is Northwest Oklahoma is known for Bigfoot, Dogman, UFOs, ghosty things and whatnots. Um, so, we touch on all kinds of things here. If it's weird and strange in the Bible or weird and strange out here, we're going to try to tie the two together and see what we come up with. And we have fun. We have fun. Um, if you are stepping out of the matrix and you're feeling a bit isolated and overwhelmed with all that you're learning, then I do have a community specifically for us to get in and just talk about all of the things that we're learning and to have some people to bounce things off of, to help each other to have discernment about things going on in the world, and to help each other be prepared and to bring up our children properly in the craziness of everything that's going on. So anyway, um, I was having a real hard time trying to decide what I was going to do this video on. And last video, it took like 3 different tries, and is that the one I had slides on? I can't even remember at this point. It was 2 weeks ago, and a lot has happened in the last 2 weeks. And so I've been kind of praying about what this video needed to be about because I need to get one out. And it just this is what came to me. So provision, preparation, and purpose when it's hitting the fan. And it's hitting the fan hard lately. I'm assuming you guys are ah I don't know if you guys remember the interview, those of you who have been around. She sent me a coffee cup as a thank you for doing the interview over there on Truth Talk and Testimonies. It's Revelation 12:11. It's become my favorite cup. It's nice and big, holds lots. If I could find a self-warming cup, I know that there's the insulated cups, and I've got insulated cups, but I don't like drinking out of them if I'm not going places. And so basically the only reason that I really have a microwave anymore is just to keep my coffee glowing. Yeah. Anyway, I need to be drinking water at this point. But okay, finances have been tight lately, and I know that the cost of things has not seemed to be going down. Inflation has been a booger, and yeah, it's finances have been tight lately. We've got a washing machine that the bearings are almost completely out on it, and I'm I'm gonna have to take winter stuff to a laundromat until we can afford to replace this poor thing. It's been through it. And we've got a fairly large family and there's a lot of laundry and they don't make them like they used to. I've got two wringer washers and I was hoping that Hunky Hubby would be able to fix them up for me. One of them, I think, was a little beyond what I thought it was. And the other one, I don't know. He's off and on half interested in working on it. I was kind of hoping I could take the ringer off and use it, hand ring, but they're not really made that way. I don't know what I would have to do to make it work, so that I could hand ring. Hand wringers are expensive. Everything's expensive, right? So we've been struggling financially. I know some people in my community have been struggling financially lately. And when we our income tax from the accountant this last year, no, I do not do it myself. I am a math person, but taxes with multiple businesses and a farm, it's just safer to have a professional do that. We do, it's kind of like I go to a professional. I usually cut my own hair, but I do go to a professional every once in a while for that. Probably need to do that again because I hack on it on a fairly regular basis. But when we got it back this year, I was floored. How did we even make it? And this has happened before, but this was the worst. This last year, we made the least amount of money that we have ever made. Um, but the bills got paid, right? Um, and we're not starving, obviously. I I did it's the animals were taken care of, everything was taken care of, everybody's, basically healthy and well fed. And I don't know how we did it. Um, we didn't, our creator provided, right? And we're not, I promise you, just sitting around because I've had people in the comments and there's notoriously somebody going to come in the comments and accuse us of just sitting around waiting for God to provide for us all the time. Um, we're not on any kind of assistance and we never have been. Um, we have received gifts and things through the years. People have gifted us in different ways. And in turn, whenever we've had a good year, we've gifted others as well and just kind of passed that blessing around. And that's the way the ecclesia is supposed to work, right? That's how the brotherhood and the sisterhood of the kingdom is supposed to work. We're supposed to be helping each other out, right? And but it doesn't mean that there aren't going to be hard times, but he does promise that provision and he follows through and it's amazing. Now, I know that there are other people in the world that it seems like aren't receiving provision. Um, I don't really know. I know that I have to be so careful about what I say. Um, he's always paying attention. Our creator is always paying attention, and he is always providing a way, um, for that provision to be met. But and one of the conversations that I've had in the comments recently, actually, this was in several different places with several different people, is the whole why does he allow bad things to happen type of thing. And if God is completely in control, then why do these bad things happen, right? And some people are like, he's in total and complete control, but he doesn't allow bad things to happen. And then there's other people on the other side that are like, he's letting all this bad stuff happen. He doesn't care about us, type of thing, if he even exists at all, right? And my thing is free will. Don't forget free will. And I know usually whenever I end up in these conversations, it's because somebody is hurting, somebody's grieving, and they either are blaming him for what happened, or they are refusing to put the responsibility on anything other than whatever they've decided to blame it on. Okay? I hope that makes sense. I'm trying to be very careful here because when you're hurting, part of your grief is anger. Okay? Part of your grief is anger. You're going to get angry. It's just part of it. And people who have grown up as Christians, grown up in the church, they have a tendency to believe that anger is sinful, bad. And that part of their grief, they can't justify. They can't work with it. And they get angry. You can't stop from getting that way, but where it gets directed is different, where I know that my creator's got big enough shoulders to handle me getting upset with him. Okay. And there are times that I step outside and scream, and I am not afraid to ask dumb questions or tell him how irritated I am. Okay. I am his child, and it is normal. I'm going to have a temper tantrum every once in a while. I am going to have a meltdown every once in a while. He knows that. And he can handle it. Okay. But for some reason, some believers feel like they need to thank you for sounding like a horse coming down while I'm recording. Yeah, they do that. And I hubby is at home right now, but whenever he gets home, he will probably either turn on the tractor or the lawnmower. And yeah, and he'll go right by the window. That's what will happen. And of course, all the dogs will start barking when he shows up, and all of that will happen too. We're we're on we're on the farm. This is real life. So, uh-huh. Um, so they think that they're it's not within their Christianity, it's not within their faith for them to be upset with their creator. Therefore, they have to, they almost just don't sense reality at some points. It's very like I said, I'm trying to be very careful here. He's in ultimate control, but he doesn't allow bad things to happen. And it's like, wait a minute. How can he be in ultimate control and not allow bad things to happen? And the answer to that on both sides of it is free will. Free will doesn't just affect you. And this is where people who are drug addicts, alcoholics, things like that, addicts of anything pretty much, they only think they're hurting themselves. Okay? Whatever they're addicted to, whatever it is, they only think they're hurting themselves, usually. Um, some addictions, it's very obvious you're hurting somebody else, but um these people, I'm only hurting myself if I'm overeating. I'm only hurting myself if I'm smoking. I'm only hurting myself if I drink too much. That kind of an attitude, but it's never true. You are always somebody, you're constantly, it's like the butterfly effect, right? We're always making an impact on the people around us, some kind of an impact, even if it's just a whisper of an impact. We are making an impact on everything around us in one way, shape, or form. So he allowed us that free will to make that choice if we're going to, eat an extra chocolate bar, smoke a cigarette in the vehicle with children in it, um, drink and drive, whatever it is. He's given that free will for them to, and it's going to impact. Now, the free will wouldn't do as much good, and I say good with a grain of salt here, if it wasn't impacting beyond them. Because unfortunately, some people only learn from their mistakes once they've seen it make an impact on somebody else. Okay? And he knows that. That's why he said, for all those who love me, I will turn things good. For all those who love me. Okay? That that means it's not always going to be good. And as a matter of fact, when Yeshua came, he told us we're going to go through tribulation. He told us, bad things are going to happen. In the Old Testament, he told us that it rains on the just and the unjust. Okay? So he doesn't just pick and choose. Not that he can't. Yes, he has ultimate control and he can pick and choose. He can choose to protect somebody. With Job, the enemy had to go and ask permission to step through the hedge of protection around Job and his family. And even then, our Creator gave him parameters. He said, you can touch this, this, and this, but don't touch this and this. And then the enemy came back because Job still wouldn't curse his creator and said, well, you're still protecting him. And the creator said, well, okay, you can touch this and this, but leave him alive. And so Job ultimately ended up with pretty much everything taken away from him, even his health, his family, his livelihood, everything. And yes, our Creator allowed it. Now, people want to say, well, Job is just an example. I've even had people say Job's just a parable and didn't actually happen at all. Um, I don't know what to do with you if you believe that. You're probably just in the wrong place. Um, I absolutely believe that there's too many things in Job that are just too realistic and too real to what was going on. I've got somebody playing a game in the background. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Um, anyway, He had to go through a lot, and Yeshua told us that we would go through a lot. He's not going to make things easy for us or protect us from everything, just because we're his children. Number one, there's things that we can learn. Um, that's how we grow in character, is through struggles and challenges. And and that's how we grow in faith and patience, those character traits. Um, and then other people learn from seeing us go through that. That's why he left Job in the Bible for us, so we could look at Job's life and what happened with Job and say, even in the worst of circumstances, our Creator brought him through it and blessed him in the end. Okay. So when Job gets to or got to his reward, um, he's got two sets of family to welcome him, right? To be with, or for him to welcome, Um, David, same way, went through so much. And I've had people say oh, David's such a crybaby. You know, I- David did such terrible things, and then there's people on the other end of it that David was a man after God's own heart. He was perfect and everything. And it's like neither one of those are true. Yes, he was a man after God's own heart, but he was not perfect. Okay. It was the heart that our Creator was looking at, not every single one of his actions, obviously. He made mistakes just like all the rest of us. He did things wrong just like all the rest of us. He paid consequences for doing things wrong just like all the rest of us. So when we end up struggling through the consequences of either our own decisions or the decisions of other people, that free will, it's not that he isn't in control. And it's not that he's just allowing bad things to happen to good people. There's so much more to every single story than that. It's like when there's a confrontation, there's always this person's side, that person's side, and then whatever's really happening. And everybody who looks at that situation is going to see it from a different perspective. So that's why we need a trial of our peers, to hear evidence in cases and stuff, right? Um, and the kingdom is a civilization with a legal system. And believers don't tend to, well, I don't know that either side likes to think of it that way, right? Who wants to think of it as a civilization with its own legal system, right? And even the judge has constraints, even if he's the lawmaker and the judge, which he is, he puts himself under his own constraints, right? It's only fair that way. He can also give grace and mercy where he feels due. And it's a struggle through there, right? But yeah, in the process, he does provide. He does provide. So if you're going through hard times right now, just know he's going to provide. Pray through it. He doesn't do things in our time. And this is what I'm talking to myself here. His timing and my timing are not on the same level. Uh, and his amount of provision and what I would like to see being provided even through the work I do, is never what I would like for it to be. And I know that there's reasons for that because Hunky Hubby and I are very generous people, and we tend to, if we're not careful, enable people where we shouldn't, where they have a lesson that needs to be learned, and they're not going to learn it if somebody is providing in a way that um, isn't the creator's way or the creator's timing. So, yeah. Now, with everything going on and everything hitting the fan, and the threat of more hitting the fan, uh, preparing. I'm a prepper. How do you prepare for this kind of stuff? First is that faith, knowing that he's going to provide in one way, shape, or form. If he has to bring manna out of heaven and water from rocks, we know he can do that. Get back into your Bible if you haven't been in there and read how he did that. And if he did that for them, he can do it for us today. Okay? I absolutely believe that. If you believe that all the miracles are all over and there's no miracles and there's no gifts and stuff anymore, you're probably on the wrong channel. I don't even know why you stayed as long as you did. But look at the Bible and see what was happening and know that he can do that in your life as well. And through different seasons in our life, we'll see different things that he's doing. And in provision for this and preparation for this, you know, uh, whenever you possibly can, when something that you get on sale, something you get on a regular basis is on sale, get it. Like butter just came on sale recently here. And so we um scrimped and got a case of butter so that, because we use a lot of butter. So if you can do something like that every once in a while, buy or just buy an extra. If you're buying rice and it happens to be on sale, if you can buy 2 bags instead of just one, buy 2 bags instead of just one. Buy that extra one thing every time you go. Now, just because something's on sale, if it's not something that you use on a regular basis, don't, right? Um, and this is something that I had to kind of learn the hard way through the years is, oh, such and so is on sale. We could use it for this or that. But it didn't end up, because it wasn't something we used on a regular basis, it ended up being a waste, right? Um, so yeah, and then learn a skill, right? Learn a skill. If you don't know how to mend clothing, maybe get you a little sewing kit and turn on some YouTube videos on mending and practice some mending. And remember, put aside the perfection, okay? Put aside the perfection. We're anti-perfectionists here, okay? Are you listening? Yeah, I'm talking to you. Um, no perfectionism. All right. Um, s- Sometimes better than perfect. Okay. And if you need to save in some areas, then mending clothes instead of buying new clothes might be a good way to do that. Um, Buying an extra something whenever it's on sale is a good way to do that, right? And then purpose. I wanted to talk about purpose. We all have a purpose in this world, okay? And if nothing else, your purpose is to be a light. Don't put your light under a bushel. It's easy to do that, especially whenever you are coming out of the matrix and you're getting flack for noticing things and recognizing patterns and questioning things that some people think are unquestionable. I had to mute a few people on my Facebook recently because there are some things that they cannot handle me questioning. And that really makes me sad. That really makes me sad whenever people get to a point that there are certain things that trigger them that cannot be questioned. I have a problem. I do not understand. I do not understand. The only thing that I do not question, well, and I have to, is the word and the kingdom and my creator. Not that I don't ask him questions, not that I don't question him, right? Like Job did. Why this, why that, right? But I'm not going to question his motives. I am not going to question necessarily his purposes because I know I'm seeing the backside of the tapestry where all of the threads are all in knots, right? That's the side I'm seeing. He's seeing the top of the tapestry as it's getting worked on. He's seeing the beautiful side. So he knows where the knots need to be. He knows where the different colors of thread need to go. If I try to direct how that tapestry is being done from my side, I, I'm gonna mess it up, right? So we need to be careful with that. And but we need to know that we do have a purpose. Okay? Everybody's got something, and we all have gifts. And, you know, what is your spiritual gift? Are you a teacher? Are you a gift giver? Are you is it mercy? Are you a prophet? Not a prophet as in, trying to tell the future or something, but prophet as in um seeming judgmental to people, right? Because you recognize things that are right and ethical and you know, I if you're not familiar with the gifts, the motivational gifts, I mean, there are gifts that he can give all of us. Those are manifestations. I have to be careful with that word, but gifts of manifestation, gifts that he gives us at any point in time or moment that he can give just anybody. So prophecy, thus saith the Lord, he can give that to anybody at any time. You always need to test it. You always need to test that, but he can give it to anybody at any time. But our motivational gifts are the ones that we were born with. And I've talked about them before. And like a gift giver, uh, if they're not using it in line with God's word, they can seem really stingy. They can have strings attached to the gifts that they give. Everybody knows one, right? But if you're using it in line with God's word, then you make sure that you're not enabling people, but that you're generous, right? The gift of mercy can be very much the same way. I have the gift of mercy. So I want to get everybody out of their pickle. And unfortunately, some people need to be in their pickle for a little while until they learn what they need to learn or whatever is going on in that situation. So I have to be careful of where that mercy is directed and how I show that mercy. So if I stay in line with God's word and he gives me the discernment of where and when to use that, it works out much better than if I'm just, oh my goodness, this person needs help. I need to help them right now. Isn't always a good thing. I hope that makes sense. Teachers, the same way. A teacher can seem like a know-it-all, trying to teach you, trying to teach everybody everything. They've always got something to teach, right? But whenever it's in line with the word, then they're not only a teacher, but they realize that when other people are teaching them, they can learn, right? So it's good to be taught when you're a teacher and to let others teach you, you know, so that you can learn more and so that they can learn through teaching, and the exhorters. And so, anyway, if you're not familiar with those, um, tag me in the group. Come, if you're in the group, tag me in the group and I'll find that information. I'll get it posted in there because it is very helpful in helping us understand ourselves and how we work with people and why some people may see you as, judgmental, or some people may try to like use you as a doormat, things like that that end up happening, end up being cycles because you don't understand your gift and how you're supposed to be using it. So anyway, I think I've probably rambled enough. As things are hitting the fan, be careful. And I'm talking to myself here as much as anything, to not get tied up about the, oh my goodness, this is going on over here and this is going over here, and in all of the stuff. And don't get involved in the division that it's causing. And we are in a time, not only a time of great deception, we're also in a time of great divide. And the best way to fight the enemy is to seek the facts so that you are not deceived. And we need discernment from the Bible, and we need the facts about what are happening. And some facts, honestly, we may never learn. Okay? Facts definitely don't happen and get found, um, reported, and released within 33 hours. I'll just say that. Um, we may not have all of the facts on many things, and that's okay because he knows what's going on, right? So don't allow that division to occur, because there's a lot of people online that are only giving partial facts. Ballistics is a good starter. So, just because somebody has certain qualifications does not mean that the information that they're giving is complete. Because unfortunately, sometimes they don't realize the people that they're talking to don't have the very basics of information to start out with. Um, so yeah, I had to have a discussion earlier this week about just how ammunition is made and the parts of it. So, people are talking caliber and stuff, and it's like, but wait, you need to understand what's there because people don't understand very, very basic concepts. Uh, so be careful. Don't allow a division to start over something that people don't have all of their facts on. And there are a lot of variables happening in anything. So whenever you're studying, when you're researching, um, when you're looking into these things, there are always more variables than what anybody realizes. And it, take what you're hearing and seeing online with a grain of salt. That's what I would say. And if you find you're in a conversation with somebody who is refusing to question certain things and is stuck in a certain narrative, then I would just encourage you to back off from that conversation because they may have a mental roadblock. They may have a spiritual roadblock there that if you try to force it down, you could cause more damage than what's already happening. So, if you don't understand what I'm saying, I'm so sorry. I am trying to be very careful. So I know I'm being cryptic to an extent. Um, the group, once a month, we have a fellowship meeting online where we can talk, we can fellowship, we can run things by each other, we can share information with each other. It's not just like a Q&A type thing. It's a whole conversation, discussion, and we usually visit for about 2 hours. So if you're craving conversation with people that you can actually talk to, um, then please join. The information for the free group is in the comments or in the description below, and we would love to have you. No spammers. I do give the boot to anybody who starts spamming. We don't mind home-based businesses. We love home-based businesses, but no spamming. So anyway, if you made it this far in the video, I love you because this has been a rambling mess, and I realize that it has. Things have been very, very heavy lately, and I've been spending a lot of time in prayer and contemplation, just trying to take in information and process. And I want to be very considerate to people being in different places. So, anyway, I hope that makes sense. And yeah, if you've got something, uh, I love the comments. I love the comments and, like and subscribe and all that good stuff and share with a friend if you know somebody who's struggling that might get some encouragement out of my ramblings. And we will see you all hopefully next week. Hopefully.